Well, here's the Jersey Old Motor Club on its Boxing Day run, which it's been holding for many years. Vintage motor cars, still a very popular following amongst the public. Of course, this club is for vintage stuff, primarily before 1931, I think. But of course, there are many followers of motor cars, classic cars. Hi there. Up to much more recent times. Most of these makes, the British makes, manufacturers, no longer exist. And that's the way of the motor car, so it seems. What will happen to this social activity? (2030), when the petrol's no longer available, and lots of these materials, things like rubber, making the bits, the metals that make the bits, the oils. It's not just petrol to run them, it's also the oils. A lot of these vintage vehicles need different oils, unusual oils. So I can't imagine these owners happily accepting the hammer being put to these cars somehow. Well, ironically, this is one of the few names manufacturers that survives, Morgan. They were building these in about before the First World War. They were building these, and they've started rebuilding or building a three-wheeler now, and they're about to start making, or they have started making, an electric version, so we're told, which will look almost the same, but won't have this little engine on the front. I've no idea what it's going to be like. So you can have a vintage looking car, even though it's not an internal combustion engine. Of course, as has been pointed out to me, a lot of vintage cars could be fitted with an electric, it wouldn't be a motor, but an electric mechanism. Now, how many people would allow that to happen with their vintage cars, I do not know. But this beautiful little voiturette, little Morgan tricycle. Here we are at the St Helier docks. Now, it wasn't always like this, of course. It used to be sailing ships, just relying on the wind. Now, of course, virtually everything down here relies upon petrol or diesel or oil products. Everything we see virtually relies upon it. And of course, the hobby end of the market, yachts. Some have got sails, of course, but there's an awful lot of quite large motors in there. What will happen to them all? I've got no idea. The 2030 deadline, not only could they make it difficult, it's going to become difficult to get the fuel for these things. I mean, they're all plastic as well. Most of them are plastic nowadays. Old timber sailing ships, of course, they were all recyclable, and they used to get turned into all sorts of things. The ones that didn't finish up at the bottom of the sea, of course. But, you know, it's a reappraisal of the world, isn't it, we're asking for. Look at everything. Just because the harbour's full of these today, what can we do? What happens to tourism? The big business that goes with yachts, motor yachts. Have we really thought about it? Well, this is where Jersey buses spend their Christmas. Here you are, look. Hundreds of Jersey buses. As far as I know, they're all diesel. you know, but yeah, look. Now every one of those presumably will have to be electrified or turned into hydrogen buses or run on seawater or goodness knows what. Obviously we all know the experiment so far with electric buses has not been very good, but no doubt there's a solution for every problem. How did people get around when it was horses only or walking? How did people manage in Jersey? Of course, this is transport system as it operates now. Further over there are dozens and dozens of these trailers, these big heavy vehicles. Ferry speed, all this. What will happen after 2030 if they haven't got these huge wagons to pull them on and off the boats and across Europe, as that's what they do, they go across Europe, these vehicles like this? What is the reality? What's going to happen? Who knows? Oh, this is the delightful little Jersey Airlines aircraft. I think it's a Heron or a Dove. A Heron, I think, de Havilland Heron. Hardly ever moves these days. Obviously it's a private aircraft, private club. I don't know what's happened with it. Very few aircraft around today. Another little airplane over there. And again, I presume that's the Aero Club or the Flying Club or something. But what will happen to this activity? What will happen to old aircraft? What will happen to any aircraft? There's virtually no aircraft at the airport today. But commercial flying across the Atlantic, it's all become very, very dubious, isn't it? But the world won't survive, obviously, without flying. So what's going to happen to aircraft? Is it realistic to send it onto the scrap heap? I don't think so, somehow. But something's got to be done. Electric aircraft, where they're beginning to play with them.